Hi YouTube. Today I'm going to do some more drawing. People seem to like my drawing a bookcase video, so today I'm going to try to draw a desk. We'll start off with a rectangle. We'll make it... what's a good width for a desk? I'll measure the desk I'm sitting at now. I'd say 4 feet. So I'm going to work in millimeters. So we'll go at 1200, and the depth, let's make it 2 feet deep. So this will be the desktop. We're going to extrude it. We'll say it's 19 millimeters thick, so that's 3/4 inch material. If we change the view here, you can see we've got a top. Next, let's go to left view. And I'm going to use the from command. Say from here. Let's just go over, how much overhang do we want? We'll say 19 millimeters, so 3/4 inches overhang. And then, that was not the right word, from this side at -19. And how tall do we want this desk? My desk here is about 30 inches. So yeah, that sounds good. Do it maybe a little bit taller. -750. We will extrude this as well to 19. If we do a front view, we can see it's a little bit off here. So let's move it over 19 and then over 19 again, so over 38 in total. We'll want this on the other side, so just went a little fast there. Do that to select it. We'll use the mirror command. Now we've got one on the other side. Now let's imagine that we want some drawers in here. How big should we do the drawers? Well, first of all, we need to determine how big of a space do we want here so that a chair can fit in. My desk chair here, well, if I had handles, we'd say about 30 inches. So what was 30 inches? I'm using a tape measure just so I can quickly convert these things. Okay, so we'll take this, we'll copy this over -150. Then we can dimension that just to see how my math worked out. 28 3/4. Yeah, that sounds okay. How big will that leave the drawers? Because the drawers I want to put in here. 14. Yeah, that's a sizable drawer. Okay. So this is just going to be an open space. So in order to have the rigidity that we need, we should put in a back. It doesn't need to go all the way. We'll try maybe a little more than half. So we'll select that, and let's go down an additional 2 inches, which is 50 millimeters. We will extrude that to 19. Now, this is the back of the unit here, and that's where I want this to be. So I need to move it 562. But we'll move it back just 560, because then you've got a little bit of space there, so once you build it, you wouldn't have any extra stuff sitting around. This is what we've come up with so far. There's 3D orbit. So it's looking a little desk-like. Let's just undo that. Go back to wireframe. Now we'll do a front view. How many drawers can I fit in here? 750. Huh. If it's 30 inches, each one should be a little under 10 inches. I'll probably want a little bit of space at the bottom too. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go rectangle. We'll use the from command. Click there. At 3, -3. Is that enough space? You know what? I want to do a little bit more space than that. So we'll do that again. From at 4, -4. So there's just a 4 millimeter space. We'll use from again to select this point. I want to go -4 and -225. How does that end up looking? That doesn't look too bad. Now to make things go a little faster, we'll mirror that. Move that down by 4. We'll mirror it again. Actually, I can cheat here. I'll select the top one. We'll mirror it again. That has the space built in, and I think that's enough space to the floor. Yeah, 3 inches to the floor, that's about average. Alright, I need to extrude these things, so I'll select them all. Again, we'll extrude them by 19. Just keep all the material the same thickness. Now this needs to move in. We'll inset it by 2 millimeters, so instead of going 19, we'll go -21,0. I'll want to put a bottom in there, but let's do the drawer body first. So we'll go to the side. We'll want a back on here too, so let's do the back. And we'll take it from this point. We'll go up 75, because that'll take us to the bottom of the drawers. And then we'll go there. Then we'll extrude this by 19. Now we want this to be in line with the other back. So we need to go back 560 millimeters. So now we've got a back there. I'll also want to put a bottom in. Yeah, let's do that right now. Side view is probably better for a bottom. So I want the bottom to go from here right to there. I won't actually want it quite touching that though, so let's move it back by 1 millimeter. Because if you select this, click on the, I think these are called grips. You can move it however, or you can use a keyboard command. So I just did at -1,0. That should be okay. What we have to do now though is we still have to extrude it, only instead of extruding it for thickness, we're now extruding it for width. So I need to go 374. Extruded it the opposite way as usual. I'll need to move it over 370. And now we've got a bottom going. Now we're lacking the insides here. How deep do we want to make the drawer? Well, we have 20 inches of space. Obviously don't want it to go right to the back, otherwise it might not be able to reach. Let's assume we're going to use 16-inch full extension slides, which means they'll pull it out a full 16 inches. If that's the case, I should start at the bottom because I got to remember I need a little bit of a gap there. So we'll start there. We'll go up an inch. Yeah, that should leave enough space. Then we'll go from again. And we'll go down an inch. Oops. Okay, let's undo that. I forgot to add in the second coordinate for the from command. Here is okay. I'm going to go up 25. Then I want to go back 400, which is a little under 16, and then down 25. So we're going to end up wasting a little bit of space here, but you don't want the drawer to have part of it hidden in there if you want to store stuff right at the back. Normally it's pretty common to make drawers out of half-inch material. I'm just going to stick with 19 because I've been doing 19 for everything. Now here's the part where it's good to know a bit about your hardware. I know that the slides I'm thinking of, they're a metal ball bearing full extension slide, and their spacing, I believe they need half an inch of space, which is 12.7 millimeters. I'll round it to 12.5 just so the numbers are a bit easier. So that's, I need to go over 15 to be flush. So 15 plus 12.5, 27.5. 27.5, comma 0, 27.5, comma 0. And that should be giving us our 12.5 gap, which it is. That's good. We'll mirror that over. We will obviously need a bottom. Let's do the back first, though. So I want a left view. The back will be easy. We'll just click from there, use the from command, tell it to go 19 millimeters over. Then we just need to extrude it by whatever the width of inside width of the drawer is going to be, which is 311. So extrude 311. Again, it does it the wrong way. This time I can cheat and just use the mirror command. And now we need the drawer bottom. So once again, just another rectangle. 0, 19. This is definitely overkill for a drawer, making it all out of 3/4 inch material. 381. 381. Again, it's not extruding the direction I want it. I'm sure there's a way I could figure that out, but meh. Alright, so we've got a drawer. Let's create a couple of layers here. We'll do layer 1 will be, let's put on caps lock, drilling, and we will, okay. Layer 1, drilling. Good. It is going to appear to be having technical difficulties here. Okay. Drilling. Alright, let's go back in there and see if it's going to work with me now. There we go. Drilling will be green. New layer 2. Hardware will be red. I'm just going to draw in where I think I will locate the slides. So I need to go, I believe they are 2 inches wide by half an inch by 2 inches. Then I'll want to center that. 0, comma, negative 25, because it's half of 50. And it'll be roughly 400. And it'll be on the other side as well. So there's our first bit of hardware. We'll need something on the drawer. Why don't we we'll just draw up like a pretty basic handle. So it'll be square. How big do I want it? How big is this? 366. All right, let's go 128? No, 150 by 12. That looks all right. Want to move it to the center, which is 75. We're going to extrude it a little bit. How thick should a handle be? Doesn't need to be that thick. We'll make that 3 millimeters. So if you do a top view, you can see we've got a little something here now. But we are going to move that down, or forward, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, by 19? 19 sounds okay. That should be enough space for fingers to get in there. And then we are going to add in little bits here. How big should that be? We'll make that a square, so that should be 12. We want it to be 19 deep. As usual, wrong way. I can't stress how important knowing how to use all these views are, like going from top view, bottom, left side, right side, etc., as well as these views, just so that you can sort of see how things are starting to look. We'll mirror that, and now since this is one handle, we want it to be one piece. We're going to union that and select all the parts, and now it has become one object. Obviously, I don't really want the handles quite there. I think I would like them centered. So if I go down 104.5, that centers it. So far, so good. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start putting in some drilling, because then what I can do is I can copy everything up for the other drawers. So go to drilling. We are going to use object track. What that does is it lets you I have to have a command here. We'll do a circle, which is just C. If you hover over it, it will leave a little tick mark there, and it'll remember it, so you can do something like this, and it snaps to both parts. So this hole, we'll do a diameter. I mean, I could do a radius, but I'm used to working with diameters. Do a diameter of 5 millimeters. We'll extrude it by 19, because it's got to go through the front. We'll mirror it, because we're lazy. Now that I've got that, I can turn off object track. Sometimes it gets kind of confusing. Obviously, whatever handles you had, you could change this to work with them. I just made up a handle because it was easy to draw. Now, if I remember correctly, I'm It goes circle. Going to start there. Diameter, we'll say 5 again. This one, however, isn't going all the way through. So we will do it at 14 millimeters deep. And that will be one of the screws that goes in there. Now, this seems to be an industry standard, but I don't know if it's for all things. Usually, the first hole is 37 millimeters back on this type of slide. And I believe the next one is 288. Usually there's another set of holes like there, and then another set here. But you really, for a drawer this size, you really only need the 2. So that takes care of attaching half of the slide to the gable, or the side panel. Then you need to do a 3 millimeter hole. Again, this could change depending on the slides you use. These are just really pilot holes, so we'll do 3 by 5 deep. Now we actually want this, which we can mirror off of the slide now, to be on that side. We don't need it there anymore. And I believe this usually starts back 59 millimeters. I honestly don't remember what the rest is. So obviously you would just measure your slide and see what it is. We'll go, do I want 224? Sure. I feel like there should be another hole in here, but anyways, that's enough for demonstration purposes. Now you'll need some way to hold this together. I'm going to take the easy way and assume that we're just going to like glue and dowel this all together. So we'll do a side view. And we'll use, let's say we're using 8 millimeter dowels that, like 8 millimeter diameter dowels that are 30 millimeters deep, or 30 millimeters long. So we'll start up here. We'll do diameter 8. We'll extrude that by 14. And then what we need to do is we need to do another one, diameter 8. So 14 and 16 are 30, but you usually want a little bit of extra space. So we are going to do, it's okay if you select both because it can't extrude an extruded object, so it just grabbed the circle I just drew. We'll do 20. Now obviously, we actually want this on this side, so we need to go over 34. And then we need to go down. Why don't I do it so it's centered? I could do the math, but I'm going to cheat instead. Go down 0, comma, negative 85.5. That puts it in the center. Then I'm going to move it by 50. That looks okay. And then all I have to do is mirror it again, and then that should be centered on the drawer. We should probably put, obviously, a couple of dowels in here. Now rather than redraw stuff, I'm going to copy this down 26 and over 9.5. So over 9.5, down, was it 26? I think it was 26. And again, I'm going to move this to the center. We'll move it at, oops, second point. Okay, so over 190.5. That centers it. I think I'd like 3 fasteners here. So let's go over 100. Oops. Sometimes I mix up my coordinates. Okay. Copy over 100, comma 0. It could go a little bit further than that. And maybe a little bit further than that. Just going over in inch increments, because every 25 millimeters is approximately an inch. So that should be okay there. Now I'm going to need to fasten these 2 pieces together. What I'm going to do is going to go up to Edit, I'm going to copy with a base point. I'm going to copy from there. Then I'm going to go to a front view, and if I've done this right, I can just paste like that. I don't know where that's going to end up. It ends up in exactly the spot I wanted. So I will need 1 more fastener here, which is down 100. So copy, add 0, comma, negative 100. And I've got pretty much this side figured out. Now what I can do is I can select all this stuff just by dragging a box around it, use the mirror command, and now the other side's got everything it needs as well. So let's take a look-see here. That handle looks so junky, but whatever. Now the fun part. Well, there's 2 ways you can do this. Probably the easiest way is to do a side view. Before you drag a box around everything, measure from the bottom of your drawer to the bottom of the next drawer, and the bottom of that drawer to the bottom of the drawer after that. Then drag a box. Actually, if you're careful, you can drag a box right across everything, and it'll only select the stuff that's completely inside the box. So that is selected. Then you want to go copy. This time hit M because you're going to make multiple copies. It doesn't matter really where you select it. I'm selecting it at the bottom. Now you go at 0, comma 225, and then at 0, comma 450. And now you've got the insides of all of your drawers. The next step, I guess, would be to fasten this bottom. Again, I don't really want to have to redraw much, so I'm going to copy this over 70 and down 25. Copy at negative 70, comma, negative 25. That puts it in the center. We'll copy this at, how does 175 look? No, it should go over probably about an inch more. So 200. We'll mirror that. So we've got all those. Now, obviously, we need to move them so they make sense, since right now they're just in the center, well, not the center, but inside the panel. So at negative 31.5, and it should be the same spacing here, so move at 31.5. So far, so good. As you can tell, it's starting to get kind of confusing in there, but pretty much everything you need to do inside that section is done now. We'll want to fasten the bottom now, or not the bottom, the back. Again, because I'm lazy, Going to copy that over 69. Where do we go from here? Do I want to center it? I've been centering everything, so why don't we do that? To get to the center, we need to move this up 328 millimeters. Now I'm trying to decide here if 3 fasteners would be enough or if I'd actually want to do 4 because it's a longer piece. I think I might actually want to do 4. So I'm going to move this down by 100. Copy it down by 200. And then mirror it off the center point. Now each one should be spaced 200 apart. What I'm going to do is I've got it set up for quadrants, so it'll select each quadrant of the circle, but it was getting a little confusing. Yeah, so each one is 200. Works out great. And I got both sides. Now what we'll want to do is we'll want to make this be attached as well to a front view. Obviously, you can't have the dowels lining up here because they'll bump into each other. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select that, I'm going to mirror it over, but then I'm going to move it down by an inch. Or over by an inch, but now let me try moving it down by an inch. Okay, so this will work out. We're going to copy it down by 150. Okay, negative 150. And to save some time, we'll do that again, mirror it down. And now we'll mirror it over. That takes care of that. Okay, all that's really left is the top. Again, I don't want to have to do more work than I have to. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to go Edit, Copy with a base point. I'm going to select the midpoint there. Now let's see if I can do this. I'm going to paste it here, do a front view. Works out perfectly. And I think I'll just have this line up with these holes. So we're going to move it down, negative 45. That brings it in line. What spacing did I use here? Let's try that again. 200. So let's copy at 0, negative 200. And then we'll just mirror this. We'll do the copy thing again. Just want to make sure that I get it to the right spots. So we'll copy multiple at negative 750. Oh, see, I did that as the first point of displacement, but it doesn't matter. Just hit the up button. It'll copy it again. It'll move it to where I want it. Then at negative 1143, comma 0. feel like I did something wrong here. Ah, see, what I did is the first time I copied them down instead of over. So now we've got a pretty functional desk. But why don't we do a little bit more here? In fact, you know what? I'm going to do this in a separate video. I'm going to add a hutch to this desk, and we'll see how that goes. So for now, I'll see you around, and you'll see my next video where I add a hutch shortly.